Well, good morning, and this week we've been talking about kindness. Mr. Saban set everything off on Monday and then told you about different things you could do to show your kindness this week. Now, I'm in school this morning, and there's not many people here yet, but I thought I'd just give you a quick look down the Key Stage 2 corridor. As you can see, everything has been cleared away. There's nothing around. There's very few things now on the walls. We've got some nice new pictures up on the walls, but everything in school is slightly different. So I'll tell you what, let's go into one of the classrooms. Let's go into what was Mr. Stark's classroom, and I'll show you what I mean. So everything is slightly different. Got tape on the floor, all the tables are facing forwards. Now all the classrooms are like this now, because we are getting ready not only for the children that are in school at the moment, but for when we come back in September. And our aim is to have you all back and all in your classrooms as much as possible. Now, hopefully, things will carry on getting better with COVID, and we will be able to achieve that for September. But a letter will be coming out on Friday explaining to your parents exactly what we are going to be doing. But all this moving of furniture, and all this putting the tape down and getting everything ready couldn't have been done without kindness. We have been really lucky at Trumica that we've had so many people coming in and helping us to set up the school and to keep us all safe. Now, Mrs. Hamer has been leading all of that and making sure that she's out there in the morning to greet your parents and to greet the children when they come in, and also have a really good routine for when they get collected again at the end of the day. That will carry on in September. So there will be different times of arrival and different times for pickup. But all of that, as I say, will be in the letter on Friday. Things may change over the summer. We just don't know at the moment with this virus, but that is our aim for September. So my heartfelt thanks to Mrs. Hamer and to all of the people who've been moving the furniture, getting the classrooms ready. Some people have been in nearly every day and they've moved the tables around so many times, they must be so confused. But thank you wholeheartedly to all of the people that have been helping us out, all of the people that have been keeping us safe and getting everything ready and making sure that we've got all the sanitizer, all the soap, everything is as clean as possible. It has been a real team effort. So thank you very much. Don't forget, home learning finishes this week. It will all stay on the website over the summer, so you can keep dipping in and out of it as much as you want, but it will finish this Friday. We also need your pictures of you doing kindnesses. So please get your parents to send them in, or draw something and send that in to us. We'd love to have it for our Star of the Week assembly on Friday. So listen to this morning's story. It's all about kindness, and it's the smartest giant in town. I hope you enjoy it. George was a giant, the scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals and the same old patched-up gown. "I wish I wasn't the scruffiest giant in town," he said sadly. But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes. So he bought a smart shirt, a smart pair of trousers, a smart belt, a smart stripy tie, some smart socks with diamonds up the sides, and a pair of smart shiny shoes. "Now I'm the smartest giant in town," he said proudly. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. On the pavement stood a giraffe who was sniffing sadly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my neck," said the giraffe. "It's so very long and so very cold. I wish I had a long warm scarf." "Cheer up," said George, and took off his stripy tie. "It didn't match my socks anyway," he said, as he wound it round and round the giraffe's neck. "It made a wonderful scarf." "Thank you," said the giraffe. As George strode towards home, he sang to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, but look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a river. On a boat stood a goat who was bleating loudly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sail," said the goat. "It blew away in a storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his new white shirt. "It kept coming untucked anyway," he said, as he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. It made a magnificent sail. "Thank you," said the goat. George strode on, singing to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat, but look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with lots of baby mice. They were all squeaking. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's our house," squeaked the mother mouse. "It burned down and now we have nowhere to live. I wish we had a nice new house." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. "It was giving me blisters anyway," he said, as the mouse and her babies scrambled inside. The shoe made a perfect home for them. "Thank you," they squeaked. George had to hop along the road now, but he didn't mind. As he hopped, he sang to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat, my shoe is a house for a little white mouse, but look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox who was crying. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sleeping bag," said the fox. "I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his socks with diamonds up the sides. "It was tickling my toes anyway," he said, as the fox snuggled into it. It made a very fine sleeping bag. "Thank you," said the fox. George hopped on, singing to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat, my shoe is a house for a little white mouse, one of my socks is a bed for a fox, but look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a big squelchy bog. Beside the bog stood a dog who was howling. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's this bog," said the dog. "I need to get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe, dry path." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his smart new belt. "It was squashing my tummy anyway," he said, as he laid it down over the bog. It made an excellent path. "Thank you," said the dog. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped on, singing to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat, my shoe is a house for a little white mouse, one of my socks is a bed for a fox, my belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog, but my trousers are falling down. I'm the coldest giant in town." Suddenly, George felt sad and shivery and not at all smart. He stood on one foot and thought, "I'll have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes," he decided. He turned round and hopped all the way back to the shop. But when he got there, it was closed. "Oh no!" cried George. He sank down onto the doorstep, and a tear ran down his nose. He felt as sad as all the animals he had met on his way home. Then out of the corner of his eye, he saw a bag with something familiar poking out of the top. George took a closer look. "My gown!" he yelled. "My dear old gown and sandals!" George put them on. They felt wonderfully comfortable. "I'm the cosiest giant in town," he cried, and he danced back home along the road. Outside his front door stood all the animals he had helped. They were carrying an enormous present. "Come on, George," they said. "Open it." George untied the ribbon. Inside was a beautiful gold paper crown and a card. "Look inside the card, George," said the animals. George put the crown on his head and opened the card. Inside it said, "You gave your scarf to a cold giraffe. Your shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and gown of the kindest giant in town." Now, what a lovely story. George was one of the kindest people in that town, and he helped all of those other animals out. So don't forget, send your photograph in of you showing kindness. Or even, why don't you write a letter to thank somebody for being so kind? Maybe write to your mum or your dad or a grandparent or one of your friends, and then send us a copy of that letter as well. It would be lovely to share them all in our Star of the Week assembly. Have a great rest of the week. Bye.